First time crypto being used for exactly what it was created for, a store of value, much better than fiat currency, and particularly notice how it's being used by both Ukraine and Russia. Now, Bitcoin has been making incredible gains as whales have been massively accumulating. Now, this is great for Bitcoin, but isn't affecting altcoins yet. So, why do I think this is so bullish for altcoins? I will explain. How many in the audience have been through a massive parabolic run before in crypto? Is this going to be your first? Because I suspect for many of you, this will be your first massive run. Now, I would count last March and April as a massive run, but I think what is coming will be much larger. Though it is fair to say that run in March and April was amazing. For those who haven't been through a massive parabolic run before, I'm going to share with you how the different pieces usually happen. Turmoil, trouble, and crisis. Have you noticed Bitcoin has been shooting up amidst all these things, and it's been amazing. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. If you like money in crypto and you're looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. You can do that as simply as liking this video and subscribing with the all notifications bell enabled. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I am a crypto investor myself, sharing with you how I think about the crypto market, the specific crypto that I like. I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I simply don't talk about projects that I think are crap. All right. I also want to thank our Patreon members. We do have a private Discord our Patreon members get access to. There's a link below to our Patreon if it's of interest to you. It is a closed group. There is even more I am able to discuss there. There is also a link down below to our Telegram group, which is free to join. And I frequently pop in there and say hello. And we have a fantastic community there. Now, make it rain on that like button and strap in for the show. Let's welcome our producer, D-Money, joining me.
What is up, Jay? How's it going today, man?
Oh, I got sick.
I can tell you're a little sniffly for sure.
Yeah, I got a head cold. But that's okay. I'm excited. You know, the market's showing some signs that I've been looking for a while. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. Chris Ashby says my sentiments pretty much like it's been nice to see Bitcoin go up despite the turmoil. And I think that's what you want to talk about a little bit is like, you know, what is the real use case of Bitcoin and how we're actually seeing it play out on a global level right now.
Yeah, massive actors like talking about cryptocurrency and bringing it into the discussion. Notice massive actors, not necessarily the papers controlling the narrative or the news sources, which generally are unfavorable to crypto, the news sources directly. But it's been interesting to see how these massive players are using it and kind of the battle that's waging with it. And we'll talk about that some today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and get the party started. You want to?
Let's do it. Join me, Rainmakers. Now, Bitcoin is up 30% since its low on the 24th of February. Now, what is it that's driving this? Well, interestingly enough, Glassnode, which does a lot of on-chain data analytics, gives us some great on-chain data as it shows that the number of addresses with more than 100 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin and even 10,000 Bitcoin, they're all going way, way up, which suggests massive whale buying in the past few days. It would be reasonable to assume that some of this is from Russian oligarchs or just wealthy people in Russia, as well as some wealthy people in Ukraine transferring from fiat to Bitcoin. But why in the world would they be doing that? Fiat currency is so valuable, at least until it isn't, right? And so they're transferring from something that they're scared might lose its value, the Ukrainian dollars, but also the rubles are getting hit with massive devaluation, and it takes twice as much of those to buy anything. And so Bitcoin is a fantastic store of value versus just holding fiat currency. Now, so far, this big run has not been affecting most of the altcoins. Bitcoin's dominance has been climbing. In fact, let me share with you. Let's go to the Bitcoin dominance chart. Let me just share with you. Now, I haven't brought this out in a while. And for those that haven't seen the Bitcoin dominance chart, what this is all about is this is all about Bitcoin's dominance for the total market cap. Now, keep in mind, for much of the history of cryptocurrency, altcoins weren't such a dominant factor because the only altcoins that there were way back when was basically forks of Bitcoin that had bigger block sizes or whatever, right? They were just kind of different forks. It wasn't till other people like the Ethereum co-founders realized that, this blockchain idea could really lead to bigger and better things. And they started a lot of these altcoin projects like ETH that had intrinsic value and would grow. So you notice way back here in like 2016, that Bitcoin's value versus all the rest of the altcoins combined, well, Bitcoin had a 98% dominance. Then when the massive bull run of 2017 happened, as altcoins really boomed, that dominance fell all the way to 35%. And this gives you an idea where that dominance fell to the middle of the crypto winter. And then when we had this big run that really started, Bitcoin ran up between here to here and then fell off as the altcoin rally that happened last spring really, really took off. So we're seeing Bitcoin dominance. It hit down at this low again, and it's been climbing up. And right at the end here, we see this large wick that I think is going to kick off something bigger. Now, excuse me. So far, Bitcoin's dominance has just increased this little wick 12% since these lows. And on the previous ones, we see right before it kicked off here, this was a 35% increase before this big slide. So from here to here was a 35% increase. And then, bam, this is a lot of the altcoins hit some major traction. Like during this time, Cardano went from like 6 cents to $1.50. You saw a lot of projects really come in, and some of them haven't even retraced. So that affects the overall dominance of Bitcoin. So far, we haven't gone enough for a massive slide like that to happen again, but I think Bitcoin's going to be on a tear. And notice that it's mostly running by itself. There are a few other projects that are having increase in value, but it's mostly Bitcoin right now. And what happens historically is Bitcoin takes a run and then it cascades into other projects. Now, Monday, we covered how far down the alts are and how this is usually a sign that the turnaround is coming. Their strong price descent has now mostly flattened, which is what we see as smart investors see their prices as going too low. And like us, they like to buy cheap so that then they can sell high, and they have been. And so let me share with you, let's look at some of these charts. And I want to share with you how low some of these prices have gotten. Let's bring this back in. There we go. You see Solana here, and Solana hit, in May, it hit a whole whopping like $55, but then it fell all the way down to $22 during the middle of this pullback from this massive run that happened in the spring. Now, Solana was impacted from this run. If you see prior to that time, it had been down around $1, and it ran all the way up to $55 before then coming all the way down to $25, and then continuing a massive run up to 260. Well, look at this. This is a nice pullback, and it came all the way back to the 75. What is that? The 78.6 line. And then it's bounced off of it and held so much. So it's done a nice Fibonacci retracement, and it seems like it's trading sideways, getting some momentum to run. Now, it's not ready to run yet. What will likely happen is that Bitcoin is going to take off. And that brings massive money into Bitcoin first. And then as people get into Bitcoin, they start learning about all these altcoins, and they start going, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Look at this. And then some of the gains that they make in Bitcoin then roll into some of the altcoins. So if we look at Cardano during the crypto winter was absolutely flattened, and it hit around, actually it bottomed out at like 1.7 cents. But started to do this massive climb starting right near the end of 2020. So Bitcoin was making a massive run up, and ADA went up to about 13 cents. And then as the Bitcoin dominance started to fall off, like we were seeing on this chart, As Bitcoin made its run up here, and then right at the turn of December into January, this started to happen. Well, a lot of that momentum went into Cardano. And you can see right here, the turn of the year, all of a sudden Cardano went from 15 cents all the way to, at this top, about $2.50 before retracing, getting some steam, and going up again. You see, interestingly enough, there is one major player that's been running really hard, and that is Luna. And the reason it's been running so hard is that lots of people are using its token, its stablecoin UST, because it is a decentralized stablecoin. No government can contact somebody and say, hey, we need you to shut down their UST address. Now, if you hold stablecoins in USDT or USDC, you are subject to, if the American government or some major government calls the projects that manage those and they say, hey, don't allow this tether address to be able to sell any of their tether or trade it, you can have your stable coins I guess taken away, or they made non-tradable completely. So UST, though, is decentralized, and the way UST gets introduced is, in order to use UST, you got to take Luna and then burn it to get UST. So say you have one Luna and Luna's trading at $100, and you burn that Luna, you would get 100 UST. Specifically, right now you would get, if you burn one Luna, 90.63 UST. Now you can then take that UST, you can deposit into Anchor Protocol and stake it for almost a 20% return, which is amazing. So as a bunch of people have been buying Luna and burning it into UST, and you can tell because the amount of UST out there has been going up massively, the price of Luna has almost doubled in just the past week. It's been about a week since the price was under $50. And let me share with you how big it's going. If we look at CoinGecko and we just look at this, we're going to see UST on this list near the top. Number one, you see Terra Luna right here is number 7 on CoinMarketCap. And then tell me if I miss it, because I shouldn't have to go this far down. I saw it just the other day. And I could be totally missing it, because
I haven't seen it either.
I get massive information overload when I look at too much at once. Okay, it's number 15.
Yeah.
Right there. So a total market cap of $13.2 billion. That's amazing. I wonder if we can see if it'll show us the history of the market cap. That's really, we're not so concerned about the price. We know what that is. We just want to see the history of the market cap. But suffice it to say, it's been climbing tremendously, and it's all the way at number 15. And so we're seeing the Luna ecosystem and the DeFi promise behind it starting to come to fruition, and it has been taking off tremendously. So that's some of what's going on in the market. I wanted to look over at chat, see what everyone's questions are in their mind. I know a lot of our family is here on a regular basis. I'm going to give some shout outs. Nurse Cooper, thanks for joining us. Nurse Cooper recently joined our private Discord through joining our Patreon. Congratulations. Thank you, bro, for joining. Hope you've been having a good time so far. Bearish Bull 9 is one of our Telegram admins. You still can join the Telegram for free down below. Nick Scott, what's up, J&D? Good to see you, fellas. Thank you, Nick. We appreciate that. Got back to nature. J Solo 9, what's up, Rain? I don't recognize J Solo 9's. Good to have you here, brother. At least from the live streams. 3 Doritos later, 2. I love it. That is a great name. 3 Doritos later, 2 says, it is informative and therapeutic at the same time. Bearish Bull says, Cosmos ecosystem holding up too. I'm wanting Atom under $20 to accumulate more. Now, I haven't looked at Atom in a little bit, so let's pull up their chart. Number 19 on CoinMarketCap. Oh my gosh. It has done some running. All right, so under $20 might not happen, but it has been in the narrative a lot. Now, Terra Luna was built on the Cosmos SDK, and so Cosmos has been on people's mind a lot. And so I remember the cheap days when Cosmos was like $2.50 and $3. It's possibly never going to be there again. Maybe in the crypto winter we'll get really lucky again. 31.5, and it's showing this nice trend towards a parabolic move. Might pull back some here. If you notice, this might have been a double top. So lower high here. It might have some more correction down. Maybe it will come under $20. Possibly even hit some resistance around this $15. But a fantastic protocol that doesn't get in the news a lot, even though some of the best things are being built on their SDK. Great one there. All right. 3 Doritos later too says that is me.
Hey Jay, I know that we're going to talk a little bit about NFL Allday. I know you're in the queue right now. My pack's waiting to open. Does anybody care? Should we open my pack right now live, or does anybody care?
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're going to talk about it. And mine, I still got 3-minute wait time in the queue. So let's open yours if you don't mind. Did you already buy it?
Yeah, I bought it. It's just sitting there bouncing, waiting.
Yeah, let's open it live because
so
we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the NFL all day.
Yeah, hopefully my screen shows up here in a second. So yeah, it's sitting there waiting to pop. I'm just like, I think if we do this live, then I'm going to land a legendary. Like,
yeah,
like all the collective. Oh, nice.
All right. If you those two are all comments. Let's see what the third one. If you hover over the third one, see if it tells us. Oh,
they're all common because they'd be a different color. It's like green if they're. I guess I should have done all. Oh, I got a Chiefs one though. Tyrann Mathieu interception. Sweet. Tyrann Mathieu is my son's favorite player.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. My 10-year-old boy loves Tyrann Mathieu, so he's going to be stoked about that. We'll do this one quick. Washington football team and the Cowboys. So this is nice. It's an NFL Allday debut. So it's nice that it at least has that. And it is the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a really popular team. NFL Allday debut for Tyrann Mathieu as well. Nothing special on this one. And it's the Donkeys. Oh, no, it is an all-day debut. But I don't want to see anything that has to do with the Donkeys. All right. So hopefully that's...
I wish I knew more about NFL. So great time for us to talk a little bit about this. Now, why are we spending time on the show talking about these NFL cards, especially since like I hardly know anything about the NFL? And why am I spending my hard-earned money on something like NFL Moments? Well, I didn't know very much about NBA Top Shots either. And about a year ago, it was a year and a half ago, it launched. And it launched in the middle of a terrible market. And it didn't do very well. I mean, they literally were paying people with YouTube channels. I didn't have mine at the time. They'd say, hey, we'll give you $200 credit or $500 credit if you'll talk about our NBA stuff. And, you know, it was by the same makers, Dapper Labs, who was building it. They hadn't really built the name yet, but they did have the actual license and they had these really good moments. So I took a risk on that and I put about $1,100 into it. And unfortunately, at the time, my card that I was using was pretty strict and it bounced back 2 purchases of 10 rare packs a piece, because that was the max you could buy, was 10 rare packs at a time. And you did have to sit through hours of wait time to be there and all the frustrations and delays that sometimes still happen. But I did end up spending about $1,100. And when NBA Top Shots took off, which happened later in March, that's my notification to buy because I'm in the queue too. So I'll purchase that in a second. We'll open that live, see if I get lucky. When the NBA stuff took off, that $1,100 turned into about $185,000 at the top. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't sell the top because I thought, well, it's doing this well, it'll probably pull back. And sure enough, it did. It pulled back tremendously, and it's retraced all the way to about 32,000. I can't remember. I checked the number a little bit ago.
Yeah, I think that's what you said.
But still, from like $1,100 to $32,000, and that's after a savage pullback. It's pretty cool. And like on the marketplace, there was like, I didn't know that much about basketball, but I said, hey, I know who LeBron James is. And he's arguably one of the greatest players of all time. So I'll buy one of his moments. And on the marketplace, I bought one that was like $78. And at the peak of the market in March, that moment went to almost $30.
30,000.
30,000, sorry. The zeros are important. $30,000. So it's retraced all the way to about $3,000. But wouldn't you still make that every day of the week, that choice there, if you could pay something like that? Now, I don't have a magic crystal ball to know for sure if these NFL moments will do amazing, but I would guess they do. There is a huge NFL following that most of them are completely unaware that this is going on yet. And when NBA Top Shots really took off, it's when all the players started to get involved with it, and they started buying each other's moments. And they started talking about when they had a really good play, hey, do you think that'll make Top Shots moments? And my guess is the same thing will happen with the NFL, especially since a lot of these athletes in the NBA and NFL, especially the NFL, have been very crypto aware. So I think this will do well. And thank goodness, because I've been waiting for the NFL one to launch for about a year. It launched right in the middle of a terrible market, which what could be better, right? And so though you could buy the packs, it's little less important to buy the packs than it is to possibly, like the resale market is where some of the gold is. Because you don't know what you'll get on the packs. It could be that you get 3 moments that are worth less than what you would have just been able to buy. Because if it's $45 for a pack, that's $15 a piece. And some of the moments go for as cheap as $5 to $6. Okay.
Oh, Stardust Runner. Oh no, this is the Jags. It's against his Titans.
Nice catch though. Oh, I like the spin at the end. That was cool. All right. I have no idea who the player is, but truth is I don't know most of the players. It's not a great mint number.
Hey, there's your Stafford
number. Oh, yes.
Whoa, what's
mint number 322?
What's down in the corner? What's that second? The thing on the bottom left.
So this is his all-day debut, and
championship year.
The championship year. So
nice mint number.
I know, that's awesome. So because it's such a low mint, it will have a higher value than normal. These are going to get savaged on the marketplace, though, because so few of these moments have been trading. For this one specifically, the prices were trading about $100 because really they hadn't been released. If you looked at the data, most of the moments hadn't been put into packs yet. And so this pack and the one later today are going to drop a whole ton of these moments. Well, what's interesting, this is common with only 6,000 total.
Is that the same? That's the same moment I just got.
Right? Yeah, it does pull from a narrow slew. It's not from all of the packs out there. It's very specific. Well, that was fun. And there we go.
Yeah, we got to stop that music. Castle Rock Sprinkler Service says, where do you buy in the aftermarket?
So if you go to NFLallday.com, my guess is the aftermarket is closed right now. They closed it last time before they then released these moments so that it wouldn't congest their servers. And then later in the day, the moments came out, and watch for the prices to fall, specifically on the moments where that came out on these packs. So if you look at, let me share with you. Here's a little bit of, for those that are tuning in today, and how many people are here right now on the live stream. I'm just going to check the number. You're getting special information. Okay, so what I realized, I'm going to share with you some of the special sauce that sometimes only goes to those in Discord and Telegram. But this pack is launching later today, and then this pack just launched. And I don't think that pulled up exactly what I want it to. Let me go to NFL Allday, and I'm going to go to the packs. Yeah, the marketplace is shut down. And it says that they'll update us when it's reopened. And I'm trying
following the premium drop, so that's going to be later tonight.
So this is the premium drop here where you can get lucky. They're a lot more expensive and you're guaranteed to get a rare moment. But if you're really, really lucky, you'll get a legendary moment. And so you get a rare moment and 3 common moments. So will it work out? Some rares only go for $50 to $100. So it's a risk, right? But if you get lucky and get a legendary, or you happen to get a really good moment, you could just wait and buy on the resale market. And here's what I would suggest. I would suggest that, especially if you know something about NFL, it really helps, which I don't. But you look for the moments that are dropping from this pack, because their price will get savage particularly. Looks like if you got really lucky, you could get an Aaron Rodgers moment. That would probably be worth a lot.
Yeah.
Especially this legendary. And
MVP
so,
year for Aaron Rodgers.
What's that?
He was the MVP this year, so kind of a big deal there. I
Yeah.
think the cheapest that I've seen a legendary moment was like $7,000, but that was like last Friday, so they might have gone down a little bit since then.
Especially as you have a few more drops. So I think a lot of the NFL moments have dropped, but it does like temporarily saturate the market, especially since these moments are these particular moments are the ones that get dropped today. And there's a lot of people who just buy and then they dump, right? I didn't get the moments I want. Let me dump for $5. And so you won't see your really good moments dumped for $5. Here's the Joe Burrow one. What do you think about the Bengals? I know this show is about crypto, but the Super Bowl did have a lot of stuff in there. And the Bengals had like a terrible losing season, right? Like they only won 4 out of their regular season games.
Well, last year they did. They needed to, you got to win like 9 games, probably minimum, to make the playoffs. I can't remember. I think they were 12-4 this year or something like that. So, I mean, they seem legit. They've got Joe Burrow. He was a huge prospect coming out of college. He's panned out really well. Joe Mixon, he's a great running back. And then they've kind of finished off their offensive force with drafting Jamar Chase, who's the offensive rookie of the year and just an incredible wide receiver. I don't know. Were you able to get some of his moments ever? I know
I bought like 100 Jamar Chases.
Oh, did you? Nice. Okay.
Yeah, he's a rookie, and I think he's the one. You were Stardust Runner was telling me that like he runs faster than like Olympic. If I'm thinking of the right.
No, I was talking about Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs.
Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs. Okay,
Yeah.
Make a note.
Dan asks, why not buy some flow since the blockchain is running NFL Allday?
So it has to do with price analysis, right? So buy low, sell high. And when these first are introduced and the whole like thought process isn't on them yet and they're pretty cheap, then it's a good time to buy. Now flow's pretty cheap too. You can get all the way at 636. So say this pumps past previous highs, and let's look at a few important metrics. So total circulating supply is 331 million. Total supply is 1.4 billion. So only about 1/4 of their supply is currently in circulation. So Dapper Labs built their own blockchain, the Flow blockchain, which is what these moments run on. It's fairly quick and it handles the load pretty well, what's on it. And probably this is going to do really well. The question is, can this go 100x? Well, possibly. So for it to 100x, that would take the total market cap to 200 billion. Now, for it to 100x this bull market, 200 billion is a very big number for a blockchain that isn't like a major like Ethereum, Cardano, one of these that lots and lots and lots of projects build on. So can it? It can. Can these moments 100x? Well, let's think about it. Now, the marketplace is closed, unfortunately, but let's say a Joe Burrow moment is, I don't know what it's trading at. Say it's $25 and it goes to $2,500. Well, that's 100x. Now, obviously, if you just bought one, that doesn't create wealth for you. But what if you bought a few ones of top players that you thought would do really well? Now, unfortunately for me, I only bought one LeBron James. I happened to get lucky. I bought 10 common packs. I got a really good LeBron James common moment in there. And that one did really well. I went to about $30,000 as well. And so, but what if when the resale market was open, what if I just bought, I think they were going for about 50, that common moment at the time. What if I'd bought like 100 of those? Yeah, then you're talking about sizable gains. And even though it went to 30,000, it's presently pulled back to 3,000. If I had 100 of them, then that's 300,000. And at the peak, that would have been $3 million. So that's why it was worth some time today to talk about the NFL specifically, because this news article just launched that Dapper is hiring 2 execs as the NFL NFT marketplace debuts to 5 million in sales. Now notice they haven't advertised this at all yet. And it is Series 1. Series 1 is a big deal. That's why NBA Top Shots attracted my attention. That's why UFC Strike attracted my attention, because Series 1 never happens again. Also, as they gain a lot more followers, they make a lot more mints. So Series 1 with NBA, they were doing, some commons only had 1,000. Some commons had 3,000 or 4,000. The rare moments had, I don't remember how many, and I think in the 100 to 200 range. And then the legendary moments, which I didn't get any of, were somewhere between 12 to 56 of them, depending on which it was. So really small mint total numbers of mints. But then Series 2 and then Series 3, like they'll make 50,000 of a common. And so Series 1 is a big deal. And that's why I felt like it justified enough time. Now, a lot of people are overlooking it because not doing anything right now. In fact, buying the packs is kind of a risk, because actually if you just buy in the resale market, especially if you know what you're doing with the players and who is likely to continue to build some momentum as a player, you make a really good ROI. Now, these are on the collector side, but collectors things can be a really good return on investment thing too. If you were able to catch last week's Veve live stream where we had NFT Pirates on there, he was buying Pokemon cards as a kid. Do you remember that story, D? His mom made him lock up all his Pokemon cards and protect them so that they would do well. And he's made hundreds of thousands of dollars off those Pokemon cards that he collected as a kid.
Yeah, finally, there's a story of a mom who actually like did the right thing with something that would have value.
Instead of
I don't
throwing them
know.
away,
I
like
don't
all our
know
moms
what
did.
his mom understood that none of our moms understood when they like gave our Star Wars toys to like, the thrift store or whatever. Like, because I know that we had everything. We had the Millennium Falcon. We had like Ewok Village, like all these things that are worth so much money now. And my mom's just like, we'll just send him to the thrift store. Like, who cares, like, ugh. So yeah, I mean, super cool. And yeah, that's what, and obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with these things, but we've seen what's happened with the NBA Top Shots. We know that the NFL is a bigger market, or has a bigger market than the NBA does. And so, trying to connect the dots a little bit. I'm hanging out on NBA Top Shots right now, just on their marketplace. I mean, and these are the top sales, but LeBron James for 230 grand, LeBron 210, 208. I mean, what's interesting is like Fred VanVleet is like, I mean, he's a decent player, plays for the Raptors, and then like he's a good player, but like I don't even know if he's made an all-star team ever.
No,
like
somebody messed up on that. They fat fingered it, because look at it. They bought a common.
Well, and it's a series too, so I don't know what happened with it
Oh,
exactly.
somebody fat fingered it. Somebody
You
with
think
a.
so?
Oh man,
Yeah,
I
because
fat fingered one purchase that I was like, oh my gosh, and I think I ended up spending 100 on something that wasn't worth more than $20. But that guy's really hating life.
Yeah, Ja Morant right now is like the hottest player in the NBA. Everybody's so excited about Ja Morant, and so there's a legendary number 8. This is interesting. A number 8 common from LeBron. Look at that. Number 1 legendary Zion Williamson. So yeah, I mean, these are still holding a ton of value. If you have the right one. And so, I mean, it's a bummer. Like I've only pulled one rare moment from the NFL, and it was, like a Miami Dolphins team moment. I think it's worth like $70 or something like that. And I paid $250 for the pack. So, I mean, this definitely
better to take that $250 and take it out of the casino part of it and just making strategic investments on players, especially if you have good NFL knowledge.
Yeah,
but making specific picks.
Yeah, and it's hard though, because you think about like, oh, if I pull that Aaron Rodgers legendary, like, is that going to be worth $100,000? Is it going to be worth $50,000? And so whatever. I mean, it is like you said, it's like the casino a little bit, and it's not necessarily smart to go put your chips on black, but like, but yeah, I mean, but it's fun too, right? And that's part of what makes Veve fun too, is it's like, the experience is enjoyable, and then they do have value as well.
Yeah. Back to his question, which I like, why not buy some flow? You can. And so it comes back to like back in March when Veve, the moments on the Veve, the Akomi thing were like undervalued in my opinion, but the price of the token was high relative to everything. And so I told the viewers that I was a much bigger fan of buying the Todd McFarlanes that were just on the store that you could buy. There's a really cool Joker that was sold for $80 too, and some other things. And if you had bought any moment back then, right, it's pumped. Now, if you bought the right ones, they pumped tremendously. Like the Todd McFarlane went from $80 to 14,000, and they've retraced down to like 6 or 7,000. But still, from $80, you're still 100x up. Whereas the token was still kind of resetting after having been pretty high at 1.4 cents, and I think it was about 0.8 cents at the time, and it went all the way down to 0.2 cents. So the moments were the better deal at the time, and I feel like these NFL moments being series one, just personal opinion, this isn't financial advice, I'm buying the moments and not the flow blockchain at these prices. Now if the moments go tremendously and for some reason flow keeps declining, maybe the vesting on their token keeps pushing the price down, it gets lower and lower, and I see it at a buy point, then I'm going to be all over it. So I did want to talk about some of the altcoins that have been savage, right? And they have. In Formation Finance, when it came out, I was like, I like where this project is going, what's happening, and they had a lot of good luck. They came out in the middle of a terrible market. June and July were terrible, and everything got savage. But they never really came into a buy price, which my buy price was, I was hoping for 10 cents. So it went, it came out, went to 40 cents. It came down to about 20 cents, went to about 42 cents again. Now it's really interesting. And I've been loading up on it while it's cheap. Unfortunately, I didn't know it'd be this cheap. I would have made some different timing decisions, but I just bought a bunch more. Solend, I just bought a bunch more. And if you're in the Discord, you already got the notice on this under the J Trade section, because I've been loading up on this. Now, unfortunately, I've been following this one. What I like is specifically projects that are backed by really, really good backers, and this has some amazing backers. I didn't realize it would go so red, and so while it has gone so red, I've been putting in more and more, and I like this nice flattening bottom I'm seeing here. Now, DeFi has been strongly out of the narrative for so long. It's like essentially a year ago. So that builds up a lot of momentum as DeFi comes back in the narrative that it can go crazy. My guess is Bitcoin takes off, but possibly even the DeFi narrative is ready to pump too. And that's part of the reason we're seeing this from Luna, right? Going up so crazy is because it's the decentralized DeFi part of it that's driving Luna. And if Luna continues, if it breaks past its previous highs and goes crazy, what then happens is investors say, what's next? Okay, I missed it. Luna's now at $400. What's next? And that's when that money starts to cascade into all these different projects. Like I like the intelligence of a lot of our viewers. I think it was last live stream where one of the viewers asked like why I preferred this one over another one. And this other one has way, way bigger backers and everything. And this one's like kind of like a little fish in the pond. Why would I be investing in this little one? It's because the cascade effect that sometimes as these go crazy, sometimes those big fish, they can't grow very much bigger than what they are. But these little fish, as that cascade effect happens, sometimes they can go 20, 40, 60, 100x when the big fish might go 4 or 5x. Does that make sense? Like Luna, if it goes 5x from here, that's tremendous. That's amazing gains. Does it have enough space that could go like 100x from here? Not likely, unless boy, the whole world went to crap and World War III happened and everyone's trying to get Luna because everyone's worried about their fiat currency getting devalued, and then people start to trust UST over everything else. But for it to go so high isn't very likely, especially since what is their market cap right now? Luna's market cap is 33 billion. Yeah, for it to go 100x from here, that would be $3 trillion. It just doesn't have room. All right, we have some time for some news and want to get into your thoughts as well. Let's see.
Yeah, while you're grabbing that, Ricky Schmidt asked, he said, hey, Rain team, the AMA yesterday, he's talking about Veve, AMA made it seem like exchanges transferring layer 2 coming out of app. Beta testing for MTL will be delayed. Check it out for the next Veve stream. We will for sure. Dr. Stuff replied to him. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely cover that. We'll cover it in a little more detail. So anyway, wanted to just kind of remind everybody tonight in about 8 hours, 7:30 Pacific, we'll be on with Dr. Stuff to do our Veve live stream. So hopefully we'll see so many of you or a lot of you guys there.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. And it's one of the Veve, what's going on with Veve, because it's really taken the leader in having the top intellectual properties. It takes a lot to keep up with what's going on. I mean, I try to keep up with what's going on. Doctor of Stuff is so passionate about it. He keeps up on it full time. So it's a great chance for us to get his knowledge and really get as up to date as we can on what's happening, because there's so many collectibles, and some of these collectibles do amazing returns and other ones just do okay. So having that alpha on which ones particularly look promising, it really, really helps. So on the news part, Russians, I mean, we kind of hinted at this a little bit before, but Russians are buying more crypto as sanctions set in, data shows. Now, trade volumes in Russian rubles for stablecoins pegged to the US dollar spiked Monday as Russian citizens faced financial sanctions. Now, as the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, the pressure on Russia is mounting, facing serious financial sanctions. The country's economy is crashing, and the value of its currency, the Russian ruble, is in a free fall. So we suspected this would happen, and that's exactly what is happening. At the same time, Ukraine has been using cryptocurrency for crowdfunding to defend themselves from the aggressor, which is brilliant and amazing. So I've often kind of laughed at how governments will often take revenues from their citizens through taxation, right? And then the government will be like, we're giving to the people of this country, when really it's the people giving them, and the politicians like to take credit for it, right? But I've always suspected that people's private charity is much greater than the public officials trying to take credit for things. And what's interesting is they have crowdfunded $40 million so far through cryptocurrency, and that's crowdfunded from average people like us that have given to them. Now the United Nations, which is oh, we're the United Nations and we're going to come in and do something, they've only given them $20 million. So yeah, congrats to everyone out there that's been crowdfunding the resistance against Russia. Hopefully this goes really, really poorly for Russia and they just decide to call it quits and pull out, and China watches this and be like, yeah, I don't think we're going to try that Taiwan thing after all. I hope that's how it goes. And so far, congrats to everyone in Ukraine who's been using social media. They've been doing so much to get the word out and to show what's really happening and to raise awareness as well as crowdfund some things. So man, I'm impressed with what's been going on there. Now it is interesting because they did call for a ban. I think this is essentially the vice president of Ukraine. He asked for, it's called the vice prime minister. He asked cryptocurrency exchanges to block all Russian user accounts. But Binance and Kraken said, no, sorry, this is crypto. We don't do that against all the users. Though if like a major power comes to them and says we need you to block, say they identify Putin's login account, that they're open to that, especially with a court order, but they're not going to block a whole like country's citizens, which makes sense, right? Like, I don't know. Part of me is like, well, it would help end the war sooner if they did block all the Russians' accounts, but it kind of like punishes your average everyday person so that they put more pressure on their government to stop the aggression. I don't know. I don't like that. I think Binance's response to that and Kraken's response to that seem fair. What do you think, D?
Yeah, man, it makes sense that or whatever. That's what you would hope, right? Like it's if crypto markets or exchanges, if we're really putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak, and looking for this decentralized, semi-autonomous. Whoa, D money's big all of a sudden. Jay just made me big. I'm usually the one who makes me big. But yeah, it's like I said, it's what you would hope, right? Because even though, like you said, it would speed along the process of maybe ending the war. It's also, it's kind of a big slap in the face of a lot of crypto users out there, and puts fear into our hearts that, like, oh my gosh, if something similar happens, if the United States or whoever, decides to invade, whoever, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, my assets can get frozen. Like, I don't know if I want to invest in this technology anymore. So anyway,
it does open up the possibilities of cancel culture coming after even your crypto account, right? Which if it's a centralized exchange, it's a centralized exchange, even though cryptocurrency is often decentralized. Centralized exchanges aren't, and that's coming kind of to the forefront, right?
Yeah.
So
Randy,
they say not your keys, not your crypto, and they say that for a reason. Anything on the centralized exchange, given a court order, those centralized exchanges will comply with the court order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says that asking to ban someone is shooting ourselves in the foot. They will come after our money next. Yeah.
Yep, because they always start with legitimate cases, right? They always start with, well, there's a reasonable argument, and then they later, after they've done that a couple times, then they start pushing the, well, wait, we didn't ever intend for it to be the case. That's kind of what happens with cancel culture as well, right? The first couple of people that cancel, everyone's kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, and then they start to go after anyone that they disagree with. So, yeah, good point from the audience. Liked it. Now, what else is going on? Well, Sam Bankman-Fried, he's fascinating to me because he's only like 29 years old. He's worth somewhere in the realm of 20 to 30 billion now. He was just a trader, and he figured some algorithms for trading, and then later he launched FTX Exchange, and he's gone from success to success. Well, he's pledged through FTX up to $1 billion for a philanthropic fund to improve humanity. Little interested by his statement there at the end, improve humanity, because there's, I think, a couple ways this can go. Like Elon Musk, much as he's eccentric, I think he gets it. And he gets wealth creation, and he's supporting like good causes. By the way, I heard that he flew his satellites over Ukraine to continue cell phone reception for the people of Ukraine.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like the president was, or the prime minister, whoever was, he tweeted at him and was like, hey, like while you're trying to colonize Mars, like we're getting attacked, could you help us at all? And Elon's like, oh yeah, sure. Like, so yeah, he flew a bunch of his Starlink satellites over and has helped with the communication issues that the Ukrainians are having. So kind of funny the way that it worked, that the communication was given, and it's like all public on Twitter, and that's blowing up, and then Elon's response is getting retweeted, and yeah, it's I'm sure that it's a PR move to a certain extent for Elon, but it's really cool to see people stepping in and helping out like that.
Yeah, and if they get a lot of money, like I hope that this, it seems like he has good intentions, right? But I do remember a young entrepreneur that had good intentions, and he started like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. but I'm not sure that always went to funding good things, and some of that's kind of weird and a little bit weird. I hope it doesn't go that way with Sam Bankman-Fried, that he stays on the path instead of kind of diverting it to really, it seems like in some ways that foundation was to grow kind of selfish interests that furthered, and there's nothing wrong with being selfish, but some of it I just fell into the categories of very suspect. And then our good old friend Bill Gates started spending time with, what's that guy with that island, Epstein? And I think after that, I really started to question motives, right? So Sam Bankman-Fried has been like an anomaly, and I hope he goes the route of Elon Musk. That's a little bit eccentric. I do like where that's going, because when you make this kind of money, that's more money than you yourself can spend. And so what I find is when people make that kind of wealth, sometimes it drives them crazy, but those that actually get around to using it for really good means and finding a greater purpose, and stick to that and don't get corrupted by the influences that attract him, he can do some amazing things. I mean, already, he's pledging $1 billion. I get a little bit concerned about the improve humanity thing, right? Because that statement has been used by many tyrants in the history of the world to improve humanity. Wasn't Hitler
Well,
trying to improve humanity? And it's like,
yeah.
oh, could you just stop killing people and deciding who should live and who shouldn't? And oh, they don't have the right genetics, so they're trash.
Well,
But
and one of the very first things that he's talking about is safe, safe development of AI, of artificial intelligence.
yes, which
So it's
is,
like,
I
I'm
hope safe
sure that
development of
Skynet
AI,
thought
right?
it was going to be safe too, right? Like, and so who knows, right? But you can. They're looking for applications due by March 21st or something like that, and like, yeah, I mean, it is cool to see people who are trying, and he's talking about ending global poverty as well, and reducing the risk of biochemical disasters. So like it's good stuff, hopefully, right?
No,
But
the
if
route
nothing
to
else,
ending global poverty, and it can be ended within 20 years, and it has to do with ending corruption, the government corruption. If you could end the corruption in government, there's enough resources that global poverty would end. It's corruption that keeps poverty in place. So we'll see what route he takes. I am a little bit concerned about the AI route, right? So I hope there's not someday, like, there's two massive concerns that I think about. Now, I was a former Army nurse, and so biological warfare was always the scariest thing we talked about. Not weapons of mass destruction from nuclear weapons. It's like, okay, nuclear weapons, yes, we could have a nuclear war, but bioweapons. Why? Because one doctor playing around with something is like, oh, look what we created, wipe out the whole world. And AI can go that way too, right? And so we've all seen the Terminator movie. So it's kind of like, well, I hope there's a lot of wisdom in there with that amount of intelligence. I guess that was my broader point, because there's a lot of individuals that crypto is going to make seriously wealthy, and with wealth comes power. And I hope they choose to use it well. Sam Bankman-Fried seems concerned about greater things. But he did trigger a thought. Would I like improve humanity? Well, that is the same statement every tyrant always makes. So hopefully that was just a misuse of words, right? I
yeah,
don't
for
know.
sure.
Picture looks a little bit dark there. Do you think he's going to go like Darth Vader on
No,
us?
I never can get used to how he looks, man. Like every time that I'm like that guy, like every time that I see him, which is great. Good for him. Randy Crypto Savage says Stephen Hawking said the biggest threat to humanity is AI. I'm assuming we will see if it will really save us. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely something to be concerned about, as we're all playing with this technology that will completely change the world. And it does reduce a lot of inefficiencies. It does increase public transparency, which is phenomenal. So every technology that can be used for good can be found a way to use for bad as well. And it's exciting to be on the forefront of this. It's especially exciting because in November and December, that big pump that we were hoping for, that we're like, is kind of not happening, but it may still, and it never really materialized. By about the 7th or 8th of December, we're like, nope, no December pump. Unlike the previous 2 years, it's definitely the elongated cycles route. And man, January was brutal, February pretty brutal, but we have some good news to look forward to. So Love what's happening in the crypto space. It's going to be some exciting times. And for those that are in the audience right now, it was fun giving you a little bit of alpha, what's on my mind, but you're in the right place at the right time. And you have weathered through the storm that a lot of people are not around right now. And you are. You should congratulate yourself, because a lot of my friends that were around during the massive pullbacks before in the crypto winter like this, and they were accumulating, they were positioned very well, and they saw what the huge upside swing can be like. I think many of you are going to see that too. If I'm right, this swing is going to be 3 times larger than the previous one, and it's going to be crazy. But remember, take profits. It won't last forever. If you're ready to level up your crypto game and you haven't joined and subscribed already, what are you doing? Come join the Rainmaker family. Join the Telegram that's free below. And yeah, it's a great group. We have a fantastic audience, very smart people that are in Telegram that join our audience on a regular basis. Many of them understand crypto at a deeper level, and some of them are very, very successful in other things that they've done in their lives. And they, like all of us, found this new technology that was going to change the world and want to be part of it. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time. Remember, no rain, no gain.
To the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you buy before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. Buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I missed. Cause I always made the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, to leave in a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. Sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic to dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, but time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this wrong can soon become a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. Naysayers come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, say the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.